Fade in, a dark, empty gym. Cold metal clangs against iron plates. The shadows move, not fast, not frantic, but powerful. There he stands, his body massive, scarred but unbroken. Mamdouh Elssbiay. The name echoes through the history of bodybuilding, but the world knows him by another name, Big Ramy. This isn't just the story of a bodybuilder, it's the tale of a warrior, a man who rose from the most unlikely beginnings to become the face of a sport, who tasted glory, lost it all, and then, against every odd, returned to take back what was once his. This is not just a comeback. This is Big Ramy's rebirth. Long before the bright lights of Las Vegas, before the chants and the crowds, Ramy lived a simple life in the small Egyptian town of Baltum. A fisherman by trade, he spent his days on the sea and his nights dreaming of something greater. There were no state-of-the-art gyms, no sponsors, no global spotlight, only a man with a burning desire and iron in his soul. It was in Kuwait's famed Oxygen Gym where that desire took shape. Ramy's body responded to training like a machine forged in the heavens. He grew fast. He wasn't just big, he was colossal. The bodybuilding world hadn't seen anyone like him. He debuted at the 2013 Mr. Olympia, and though he didn't win, he left a mark. He had something no one else did. Impossible size wrapped in potential. Ramy wasn't just chasing the dream, he was becoming it. For years, Ramy remained the sport's biggest mystery. With every show, fans waited for that version of Ramy, the one that would bring both mass and refinement. He placed well, always in the conversation, but victory remained just out of reach. Critics said he was too soft, too inconsistent, too focused on size and not enough on detail. But in 2020, something changed. The world was locked down, stages were empty, and uncertainty clouded every sport. And in the silence, Ramy made his move. He dialed in like never before. When he walked onto the Olympia stage, jaws dropped. His conditioning was lethal, his structure dominating, his presence overwhelming. The whispers of doubt were silence. That night, Big Ramy conquered the stage and claimed the Mr. Olympia crown. And he wasn't done. In 2021, he returned to defend his title. Bigger, better, confident. He looked untouchable. Two-time Mr. Olympia. Egypt celebrated. The Middle East roared. Bodybuilding had found its new king. But the same world that applauds your rise is quick to analyze your fall. 2022 was expected to be another triumph. Fans, analysts, and competitors all anticipated Ramy to cruise to a third title. But as the show began, something felt off. His back lacked detail. His conditioning wasn't at its peak. His posing seemed rushed. The magic that had once made him a god among men was fading under the lights. The final blow came with the results, not second, not even third. Big Ramy fell to fifth place. It wasn't just a loss, it was a humiliation. The headlines exploded. Has Ramy lost it? End of an era. The fall of a giant. Online forums tore him apart. Even former champions speculated on what went wrong. Fans were heartbroken. Detractors were vindicated. But behind the defeat was a more painful reality. Ramy was suffering. Years of intense training had taken their toll. He was battling nerve damage, shoulder issues, and inflammation. His body wasn't responding like it used to. Every rep hurt. Every pose was a war. And in that moment, for the first time, it seemed like the king might never return. After Olympia 2022, Big Ramy vanished. There were no interviews, no Instagram lives, no press tours. He disappeared into the shadows and the bodybuilding world moved on. New champions were crowned, The spotlight shifted. Hadi Chupin rose. Derek Lunsford emerged. And for the first time in years, Ramy was no longer in the conversation. But he wasn't defeated. He was transforming. In silence, he started to rebuild. Gone were the distractions. Gone were the experiments. He returned to the fundamentals. Trusted coaches, targeted therapy, nerve regeneration treatments, biomechanics. Nutrition so precise it bordered on scientific obsession. He trained in pain, in solitude, far away from the applause. There were no guarantees, only grit. For months there was nothing, just rumors, whispers. And then, everything changed. It came like lightning. Big Ramy posing in the gym, fuller, sharper, drier. The lines in his legs were back. The shape in his back had returned. He wasn't perfect, but he was dangerous again. Suddenly, the internet came alive. Is Big Ramy making a comeback? The skeptics cried filters, angles, tricks. But then came videos, unedited, brutal, heavy squats, flawless transitions, confidence. The mass was still there, but this time, the refinement was too. He was back, not just physically, but mentally, focused, vicious, obsessed. And for the first time since his fall, the world started to believe again. The lineup was stacked. Chupin, Lunsford, Dowda, Creso, all in peak form. But all eyes were waiting for one man. When Big Ramy stepped on stage, time stopped. He didn't walk, he thundered. Every step was a statement. Every pose was a weapon. The crowd exploded. This wasn't the man who had failed in 2022. This was a refined beast. His conditioning was crisp. His back was improved. His waist was tight. His posing flawless. Every comparison round, he stood tall, confident, unshaken. He wasn't the biggest, but he was the smartest, the sharpest, the most dangerous. Backstage, competitors whispered. Judges leaned closer. Fans stood and roared. The monster wasn't just back. He was in control. The results took time. The tension was thick. Whether or not Big Ramy reclaimed the Sandow wasn't the point anymore. What mattered was that he stood there, taller than ever. Critics silenced, doubts crushed, dignity reclaimed. He had done what so few in the sport have ever done, resurrected a legacy. Bodybuilding is a brutal, unforgiving world. It remembers your rise and forgets your fall. But Ramy forced it to remember his resurrection. He proved that champions aren't defined by trophies, but by how they fight when no one's watching. Whether he stood at first, second, or fifth again, he already proved the most powerful truth in sport. Greatness doesn't vanish, it evolves. As Big Ramy walked off the stage, drenched in sweat, muscles trembling, eyes filled with purpose, he wasn't just a competitor. He was a symbol of perseverance, of heart, of a man who gave everything to a dream and refused to let it die. From the muddy banks of Ball Team to the brightest stage in the world, he carried more than mass. He carried pride, culture, fire. Generations will speak of Ramy not just for his size, but for his spirit, for how he lost it all and came back stronger, for how he faced his worst moment and didn't flinch, for how he became more than a bodybuilder. He became a legend. This wasn't just a comeback. This was redemption, a resurrection, a roar from the darkness. And as long as there are stages, lights, and warriors who refuse to quit, there will be a place for the story of Big Ramy.